My name is Liz Horman. I am one half of Barefoot Kitchen Community Interest Company. We are based in Middlesbrough and we are a local environmental business focusing on food and everything to do with food, plot to plate and all that type of thing. We have worked the past few years very closely with MEMA, Tees Valley Arts, the Northern School of Art and all sorts of different community settings and community projects. And their relationships that we are still, even through all this nonsense that's going on around the world, we are still very much keeping those relationships going and planning for the future. We currently have been given MEMA Garden to look after and make into an even more beautiful space than it is now. And again, that's going towards some of our planning for this year and next for future community projects with them.
Brilliant. So, can you give us some specific examples of the sort of transformations that you've enabled over the past couple of years?
Transformations. Difficult.
I mean, like, for example, I know that you've recently taken over a car park. So tell us what you're planning.
Yes, so that's the car park. The car park at the auxiliary. One of the problems we come up against actually is that when people see, especially when they see the Barefoot name, all of a sudden they want this beautiful space, and actually it takes a long time. There's a lot of learning and there's a lot of work goes into it. And we're very cautious about treading gently on the planet, so we don't use power tools or anything like that, so it's even more time consuming. But we've been given, the auxiliary is another arts group that we work closely with, and their exterior space they've sort of handed over to us to work alongside them to create a movable garden, an edible, beautiful space. We're putting everything on casters. We're keeping with the car park theme, as in the car parking bays are still there, so the beds will fit in them, but everything will be movable, so that space can be used for whatever they want to use it for, whether it's for an outdoor gallery, whether it's a meeting space, whether it's a poetry evening, whatever it may be, or it's just a garden space that they can just change if they want to, just by moving around. And it's a really industrial part of the town. It's quite barren. The trains fly past it and everything like that. But we're putting a beehive up there as well, to get some more bees into the town centre, and we're going to try and get a conservation survey done on there as well, along the train tracks.
Brilliant. So have you always been involved in this kind of work? How did it come about?
We've got about 35 years worth of experience between the both of us and what we do. Essentially, Catherine grows our cook. I'm an ex-chef and an ex-engineer. I'm an ex-steel worker, so no, I haven't always been involved with this, but the environment's always been very, very close to my heart, particularly when I was an engineer. I ended up working in TechShe, which is Technical Safety, Health and Environment, which looks at all the strategic side of it and the intricacies of industry, really, and how that impacts our planet. And it's always been part of what I've carried with me, sustainable cooking and all that type of thing. And I'm now trained as a kitchen garden chef, which I'm very, very passionate about. And Catherine has all sorts of wonderful qualifications in what she does, and follows the permaculture ethics. And she's very established and very well known across the Tees Valley for what she does. So I'm quite proud to work alongside her.
Thank you so much. Brilliant. So I'm kind of pretending to be where you are. So I know that you've got some fantastic plans that hopefully will be able to come to full fruition soon. But can you tell us about this space I'm pretending to be in and you're actually in, and what your plans are for it?
This is the kitchen table, and it is a business within Barefoot, and it is a community. We're creating a community food space. You can hire the kitchen out if you've got an idea for a small local food business. You can come in and just have a natter, as long as it's about food. You can hire the space for small gatherings, for training courses. Yeah, we're actually, you can't see it at the minute, but I'm actually surrounded by growing kits that we've got for our volunteers and some of our projects. It's just a very essential storage space for us as well. Yeah, and we just want it to be a real part of the community, not so much as a hub, but just for everything food. And with everything that's going on at the moment, especially with the local traders and local food producers, people's interest in growing their own, people's interest in a bit more of a sustainable way of cooking and eating, all of that is happening within this space. It's difficult at the moment, obviously, because of lockdown and COVID. And things like that, but we do also have all our other outdoor spaces as well, that if we do need to meet people and they're unsure about coming in, we can take that outdoors.
Fantastic. So what is it that inspires you to do it, and what is it about growing your own food and sharing food with other people that's so meaningful and so important?
That's a good one. First and foremost, our planet, and we both have children, and Middlesbrough is our home, and I think I speak for both of us when we just want it, if we can make this a bit of a better place for our kids to be, then fantastic. And a better, just for it to be a better place to live. Food is one thing that brings people together. It unites us. Whether you like cooking, if you don't like eating, you don't like this, whatever, you have to eat. And for us, sitting around a table and talking about food and sharing food is something that happens right across the world, and it's something that's fundamentally missing in this country. And we just feel it's really important that people come and sit around a table and they leave full, whether that's full of ideas, just full of support, full of food, whatever that may be, and the importance actually on our local environment of actually growing your own food and using every last scrap of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I have to say, you know, whatever your opinions are on Brexit, it's been really surprising to me that a core central part of that from the beginning hasn't been like this idea of feeding ourselves, you know, turning every available space into somewhere where we grow food. And, you know, it's puzzled me why that hasn't been a big driving force.
I think we are a generation of people, well, the whole world is, that everything's disposable, everything is instant, our phones alone, everybody wants everything now, and they don't like it, you can throw it away. And that's something that has to change. And the Brexit thing, don't get me started on that. But as with everything that seems to have happened with that decision, there doesn't seem to be any forethought into what's going to happen into our future. What happens if the supply chains stop? What happens if Tesco can't get all the aubergines in, all that type of thing? But to me, I'm not necessarily worried about it, because I just feel that the only option for certainly this country, the only option for people is actually to eat seasonal food, to eat locally grown food, and maybe, you know, it's just going to be a whole paradigm shift in the way we think and we operate with food. So, remains to be seen. I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, kind of in a way, it might just become necessity. I mean, we don't know how things are going. You know, I hope people, I mean, there does seem to be a more of a consciousness. I think as soon as people start growing a little bit of their own food, they you know, the magic can take hold. Like, even if you've got one tomato off a plant that you've grown, that tomato is the most tasty thing that you've ever eaten.
Exactly.
And you know, and you do start to notice the difference between that and something that comes from a polytunnel in Almeria or wherever.
And those foods, we shouldn't be eating them anyway. We shouldn't be eating strawberries on New Year's Eve. You know, we shouldn't be eating, you know, a winter cabbage in August. That shouldn't happen. And it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a very, very long process. And there's an awful lot of education that needs to go on. But I do believe that there's certainly my generation, or a generation that's huge. There's skills missing. There's food skills missing. There's just general food knowledge missing. If they brought back home economics and skills, it would make life far easier, but there we go, that's another subject altogether.
Quite interesting. My lad's just turned 14, and they call it food tech.
Yes.
And he's chosen that as one of his options because it's something that he really enjoys doing, and it's been brilliant for him to, just learn how to cook for himself, even if it's really, really basic stuff.
Yeah.
It's life skills. In schools, I don't understand why we're not taught the basic skills that we need to maintain ourselves through life.
Well, that's it. Exactly. I mean, to me, home economics, it used to take in everything. You learn how to sew a button, you learn how to sew a hole in a sock, you learn how to make, cook basic things. But we also learned things like how to read a pay slip, how to set a table nicely, which sounds ridiculous, but I've seen people set tables and knives and forks the wrong way around. Just little things, you know what I mean? And it's like, how is that a skill that's missing?
Yeah, and I'd like to see like plumbing and electric and calming to everything to be self-sufficient human.
Yeah, and maybe this whole situation that's going on, as tragic and as terrible and as strange as it is, I do think some of those things are going to force people into it, and people sadly are losing their jobs, at a scale that I've never witnessed in my lifetime. And those people have skills, whether that is fixing a car, whether it is, they're spending more time in the allotment or in the garden growing their own food because they've lost their jobs, and that's now a necessity. But they have those skills, and actually within Middlesbrough, there's a lot of skills. There's a lot of food skills. We just need to, part of what Barefoot does is plucking those skills and giving people the confidence to share the skills as well. With growing, with not just with cooking, but with growing, with everything with it. And whether that is growing your chilies on the windowsill, if you've grown it, you've done it, you've achieved it, so you can do something else with it. But it also takes into the way the world is at the minute as well. It's about preserving your food as well, and I don't mean chutneys and pickles. It is about, if you are going to shops to buy your food, which we all still have to do, only buy what you need. Do you need 28 apples in a great big sack? No. Buy smaller, try and buy things that aren't in plastic, that type of thing, which is very difficult. Very, very difficult. I mean, I did went to the shops at the weekend, and the amount of recycling from a meal from two of us was ridiculous. But again, one of the projects that we were doing last year, well, before the lockdown, was working with the Northern School of Art, and we were setting up surplus vegetable stalls across the town. And all the plastics from that were then going back to the Northern School of Art for the students then to use in their projects, textiles and things like that. So we try and do it full circle. It's just difficult at the moment.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm kind of out of time, so I would love to talk more about this. Maybe we can get together off camera. This has been really brilliant, really inspiring. I've kind of thought if no one else is doing it, then maybe we set up a school for life at the auxiliary where we teach people all of these skills that they need to be a fully autonomous human being.
Yes, that would be wonderful. And we've got so many contacts that we can do that with tools and all sorts of things. That would be amazing, actually. That would be fantastic.
Well, that's something more to crack on with.
Yes, perfect. Right, it was lovely to meet you, Lisa.
Awesome. Look forward to meeting you out there when we can.
Yeah. Bye now. Bye.